Hi, this is Olga from The Wisdom Way, the Google Sheets and Notion templates for your personal and professional business use. In this video, I want to guide you on how to use the Cashflow business tracker spreadsheets you have purchased with Wisdom Way. In this video, I'm using the green color version of the template, but if you have purchased a different color of it, the instructions are exactly the same. Also, I'm using the sample filled out version of the template so that I'm able to show you how all the dashboard insights will look for the maximum period of 5 years. But you will have to start from the empty version, of course. The sample version, though, is included in the written instructions here so that you will be able to check it out. Also, I want to emphasize, if you need the spreadsheets in a different format, such as Excel, for example, or you need our team to customize the templates aligned to your specific needs, please just send us a message and our team will be happy to reply to you back in a few hours. If you need the template to track your personal finance and investments over 5 years, you could also check out our store with a personal finance tracker that was designed by the financial advisor. I will also include the links below the video. Alright, so before we start, I also want to mention that all of the Google Sheets templates we provide you with are protected to prevent you from accidentally editing the formulas. If you really need to edit the formulas, of course, you could just ignore the message and click OK. But we highly do not recommend doing so. Otherwise, you may get error messages further on your dashboards, so please try to avoid that. The current template has a total of 9 tabs. 5 of them are all dashboards, analytics, and valuable insights that update automatically based on the log's activity. And there are only 2 tabs, revenue log and expense log, that require active data entries. And 2 of the tabs, such as the setup page and the total balance page, require one-time data entry. So let's start from the setup page. On the setup page, you have to choose the currency from the drop-down menu list. In this case, I will be using the United States dollar. Next, you have to enter your starting business fiscal year you're going to track the cash flow for. So, what is the difference between fiscal and calendar year, though? A fiscal year is a 12-month period that companies use for financial reporting. A fiscal business year may start at any month of the year. For example, a business may also start their reporting, let's say July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. This is called the fiscal year of FY 2026. A calendar year, on the other hand, is fixed to start on January 1st and end on December 31st. The thing is that no matter when you purchase this template, the system will automatically update your target goals to a maximum of 5 years of time here on the right. So, if I choose the starting fiscal year, let's say 2030, the system will automatically update the information. You could use the template for any year of the time by either erasing the previous information for the 5-year period of time or just making a copy of the new empty template. For ease of use, in our example, I will choose the year 2025 and the January as the starting fiscal year months. Once you have picked up the required fiscal year, the spreadsheet will update the configuration required in the annual target goals here on the right, as already mentioned, and you will have to enter your profit targets for up to 5 years as shown here. This is important as this will be the basics for all the dashboards that will be tracking your profit and loss progress against the target goals you enter here. The total and average fields below are auto-calculated, so you do not have to do anything here. Average means how much you have to make monthly to reach your profit goals targets. Next, you have to type the required main revenue and expense categories here. Optional tax rate percentage for each revenue category and banking account information. Some of the basics categories are already added to the spreadsheet. An important piece of advice: try not to later edit the existing categories if you've already been using those in your revenue and expense logs categories here, as it may cause the dashboards to show some error later on if the data is tied to that specific category. Of course, you could add the other ones later, which is not affecting anything. The new categories you entered will appear in the drop-down list in the Logs tabs and the Dashboard Insights. The tax rate is optional and not required here. We highly recommend entering the tax rate percentage if you have a fixed tax rate for your revenue flow categories, as the amount of the tax rate will be automatically deducted in all your revenue logs and affect the overall profit and loss net income. If, on the other hand, you do not have the fixed tax rate, we recommend entering the tax as a separate expense category and logging the expense in the expense log, or just manually entering the tax rate in the other fees field in the revenue log. Also, you could enter the tax rate only for some of your revenue categories. If, for example, the consulting category has no tax rate entered here at the setup page, it will not be deducting any amount. The banking account information is optional. It becomes a great feature of this template to be able to automatically calculate your approximate balances based on all your income flows and actual profit/loss after all the withdrawals and updates all the time based on your revenue and activity logs, so that you can view the total of all the balances for all your business account based on your business flows at the total balance tab view. I will come back to this section a little bit later, but we highly recommend to use the banking account information here. Now let's move to the revenue and expense log tabs. They are the tabs where you will actually need to actively enter the data of your cash flows. Let's start from the revenue log. The first required field is to choose the date of your log from the Google Sheets calendar. You have to double-click to have the calendar pop up. The date is required to enter, as the date is tied to all the dashboard profit/loss insights, so pay attention to choosing the date. There is also a tip for you. If you double-click and still do not see the calendar pop up, just drag the previous date below like this, or just make a copy of the date. The next field is ID. The ID field is optional and usually required if it's important for you to track a specific order ID. Then pick up the required revenue category you have set at the setup page. Next, enter the amount of the revenue received. The tax rate is an auto-calculated field, as discussed before. So if I, let's say, choose the YouTube category and I have set the fixed tax rate for YouTube 5%, the tax formula will deduct automatically based on the percentage and amount you are entering here. If you need to enter the tax rate manually or any other fees related to the revenue, enter the amount in the other fees field next to it. As a reminder, this is not the expense, but extra fees that may be additionally applied during your revenue streams processes. For the expenses, we have a separate tab. Now let's take a look at the top insights. We have the net income insight, which is auto-calculated based on all the subtractions from the initial revenue amount entered, such as tax and other fees. Please note that net income is not your final profit calculation, as those do not subtract your expense logs. For information about the actual profit and loss, you have a separate tab called Profit/Loss that calculates all your annual and monthly profit and loss statements. The next insights are the total tax summary, other fees summary, and the total revenue summary. The account and notes fields are both optional, but as we have already mentioned before, we highly recommend to choose the banking account information associated to this specific log, as this will have an impact on all the calculations in the total balance view. I'm personally choosing the banking account information from the drop-down list, as it becomes very useful for me to see the total profit generated from all the income flows, especially after 5 years of time. If you go to the left, you could see the ability to filter the revenue streams for any period of time and a year. So if you want to filter the data for a specific period of time, feel free to go ahead and filter this information here by choosing the years needed and clicking OK. Same you do for the needed months if you have to customize the view range also for the months, and click OK. Now you could see the same insights, such as the total revenue and net income, as well as taxes and other fees, but for a specific filtered year and months. Please do not forget to click the OK field, otherwise it will not be updated. The expense log tab has exactly the same logic as a revenue one. The required fields here are the date, expense category, and the amount. The banking column, as already mentioned before, is highly recommended to choose from the drop-down menu list for tracking all the total balances at the total balance tab mentioned before. The optional fields are ID and notes. The expense log does not have the column for the tax rate and other fees, as expenses are usually fixed. But in case you need us to add the custom fields, you could always reach out to our team and we will be happy to assist. Same as for the revenue log tab, you can see the total amount of all your expenses and filter any year and a month based on your needs. The next is profit and loss statement. You don't have to log any activities here. All you have to do is to pick up the required year you want to see the detailed profit and loss statement for. The profit and loss statement is updating all the time based on your revenue and expense log data entries. It shows 3 main sections: the total annual revenue, expense, and profit/loss views with the monthly and quarterly breakdowns for each if you scroll to the right. The revenue section shows the breakdown for each revenue source category and includes the total monthly and quarterly views. The expense section shows the breakdown for each expense category here and also includes the total monthly, quarterly, and annual expense total view. The profit and loss section shows the information of your actual profit with the monthly, quarterly, and annual views. This field, which is exactly the same as a total profit/loss after tax fees, is quite important for you. It shows a true annual profit. Additional insights are total revenue, income before tax, total expense, tax, and other fees views based on the year you choose here. Not to mention that in comparison to the net income information in your revenue tab here, the profit and loss statement subtracts all the possible expenses, such as taxes, other fees, and all the logged expenses. So this is the right place to see the actual total of all your annual profit and loss statements. Now let's move to view the visual graphical insights on each of the dashboards. Overall, the template includes 5 different dashboard views to ensure you can get all the needed graphical views of your business cash flow and profit insights. Those include monthly, annual, and 5-year overview, comparison dashboard, and the custom dashboard. So let's start from the monthly dashboard overview. The monthly overview tab allows you to categorize and filter information for a specific month of the year. So choose the needed year and a month to view such information as profit goal progress. Compare your total expense versus revenue and see the detailed breakdown of your revenue and expense categories in both numbers and percentage distribution. The same as a top 10 categories visual breakdown so that you could easily analyze the percentage distribution of revenue and expense categories and drive business changes accordingly. Profit here is the actual income you get after all the possible taxes, fees, and expenses. The goal is the amount you entered at the setup page, right here. So ensure you have entered your profit target goals at the setup page. Otherwise, you may see the error messages in the blocks related to the profit goal progress. Now let's move to Annual Overview Dashboard. The Annual Overview Dashboard shows the annual insights, so you have to choose the required year from the drop-down list. Here you can view the profit progress to reach your target profit goals, visual total category revenue versus expense view, and the profit graphical view of your profit growth. If we scroll down, there are expense and revenue category views, and the top 10 categories, the same as we've seen for the monthly view. Next is the 5-year overview dashboard. The 5-year overview summary dashboard has similar graphical insight views as the annual one, but with some additional valuable summary insights, such as profit margin and percentage. Profit margin is a financial indicator that shows the percentage of a company's profit in the total cost of a product or service. It's calculated as the difference between the selling price, or revenue in our case, and the cost price. In our case, those are taxes, other fees, and expenses, expressed as a percentage. Even though the dashboard is a 5-year one, it does not mean you cannot choose a 2 or 3-year period of time to see the detailed profit margin information, as this information is quite valuable for any business owner. So here you have to choose the needed year range you want to see the information for, and the dashboard insights will be updated accordingly. On the very right, you will also see a great visual target profit progress for all the years on the same dashboard. The next is the comparison dashboard, with the similar visual insights as the previous ones, with some extra blocks. The dashboard allows you to add up to 5 custom data ranges to compare the insights for a specific range of dates. So you have to filter the date ranges from the Google Calendar. Afterwards, you will see the following information. Some review of the total profit and loss for those specific period of time. Profit margin. You will also see the additional block with total expense versus income detailed breakdown. That includes the comparison data of the total revenue, expense, profit, and margin information. This information is especially valuable if you need to get a data range comparison statement. On the right, you will see comparison insights, such as revenue versus expense, profit growth graph, and top 10 revenue and expense categories. Additionally, if you scroll down, you will see the detailed comparison block of the top 10 categories that include comparison insights for each date range, the total, and the average. The custom dashboard insights is designed to use the insights for a specific date range. So you will have to choose the from to date by clicking on the filter and picking up the required custom date you need to see the information for. The dashboard includes the summary insights such as total profit and loss statement, profit margin, total revenue and expense view, and top 10 revenue and expense categories detailed breakdown. And here there is a piece of advice for you. If you need to save any dashboard statements, you can always make a copy of the dashboard's insights for the required data by going to the file and print. Then you just hit next and you go ahead and you save the file needed as the PDF file. You could save any tab as a PDF file if needed. The last step is a total balance that we have been already discussing a little bit before. The total balance tab is designed to calculate and track the balances for each of your banking accounts. This is valuable insight, and I'm personally using those, as it's quite interesting to see the balances, especially over a 5-year period of time. The balances update as soon as you add your revenue and expense logs and choose the bank account associated with those specific logs. Important to mention that if you forget to choose the banking account information for that specific log, this will not be calculated in the total balances tab view. So make sure to choose the banking account information for your revenue and expense log if you want to be able to see the total balance sheet statement view. And as you remember, the bank account names should be provided at the very beginning of the setup page here, so that you can choose the accounts from the drop-down list while logging activities. Here, the only manual entry should be at the beginning balance, if any. So the system does not know, of course, what may be your beginning balance. So you have to do it manually if you want to include the current existing balance of your banking account to this statement. If you don't want to mix any beginning balance, just leave those empty. Now let's take a look at each block section we have here. First of all, we have accounts themselves. The next one is the current balance and profit. This is the actual profit or loss you have for each banking account information. And this is based on all the possible revenue streams you get with tax, other fees, and expense logs deductions. Total deposits field shows all the revenue streams you are entering at the revenue log tab here as the amount. So each amount you enter at the revenue log is considered to be as a deposit. Total withdrawals column means all your expense log amount you are entering here, plus all the other expenses, such as other fees and taxes in your revenue log field. So any expenses you have are considered to be total withdrawals for each of your banking account. Total balance column is also auto-calculated, and it adds your current balance slash profit and additionally your beginning balance if you have any. Here you do not have to filter any data range, as the total current balance shows all the balances on each of your banking accounts based on all the logging activities in the whole spreadsheet. As already mentioned at the beginning, we also recommend using our 5-year spreadsheet for your personal finance tracking activities designed by a financial advisor in parallel to your business cash flow, as this is an important part of financial freedom. All the links are added to the video. If you have any related questions in regard to the other integrations and automations, please feel free to reach out to our team and we will contact you within a few hours. I hope this has been informative for you. Thank you so much for choosing Wisdom Way products and services, and we truly appreciate any related feedback or comments so that we can always become better and follow your true needs. If you have questions left, feel free to message us and we will reply accordingly. Thank you.